Shalom, my name is Chaim Mailspin. I'm co-founder of the Aliyah Return Center and Director of Operations here in the Galilee. I'm an Israeli. I'm kept quite busy, believe it or not. My Israel story began when I was really a young boy. Growing up in America, because I was born in Oregon, Corvallis, Oregon. We're 8 of us in our family, the wandering Jews, and we traveled all over. We lived some in Canada, all throughout the United States, always trying to find our home, in a way, to find our homeland. My dad would build houses out of wood. He would always say, we're looking for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We want to introduce them to God's full plan, and that includes Aliyah. And I think it really started ramping up for me was when we were saying, well, when, Dad and Mom, when are we doing this move? I've never been on a plane before. I've never been to the Middle East. We've driven to Canada, but we've never been to Israel before. So we were reading these scriptures and asking God for a sign as a family. And one day we go to our community center. In walks this man named Zebulun, who wasn't from around here. He says, guys, I'm not from around here, but I came here because God sent me here because there's a family of 8 of you guys. The father's name is Reuven, and I'm supposed to give you a sign. And we were praying for a sign about the timing to make our Aliyah, our immigration to Israel. And so he says, come to the front. My dad comes to the front, and he said, are you Reuven? And he said, yes, I am. I want this to be done publicly, I want to give you a sign. So he asked my dad to hold his hands, and this man with his long white beard, long white hair, hands my dad a satchel of gold coins. And he says, this is for your Aliyah. And so my dad just looks at us and he says, it's the time to go. And so this was about 23 years ago. And we had never been on a plane before. We sold everything we had. Of course, we had the farm, we had the sheep, the pony, the horse, everything, the cars, it all had to go. And we packed up our suitcases, and as we got on that plane, I remember thinking, what awaits us? Because the hard part is really going to be when we get off the plane. It's going to be getting a job. How do we get settled? Oh my, where will we live? I have to join the army. Wow. Upon my arrival to this glorious prophetic land, I saw people kissing the ground, and this overwhelming emotion of love and attachment to something that I can only describe as like how turtles are hatched in one, sea turtles, and they swim the 7 seas, and then at one point they need to return, and they come to the place where they were hatched from their eggs. And I felt the same way. Jeremiah 32 verse 41 was really key in solidifying my identity, and really that I'm part of a big plan of the universe by the creator of the universe, and that's to build a landing pad, a welcome party here. And so if I'll just read that, Jeremiah 32, I will gather them out of all countries. That's me included. Where I drove them in my anger, in my fury, in my wrath, I will bring them again into this place. I will cause them to dwell in safety. And it goes on to say, yes, surely I will rejoice over them in verse 41, to do them good, and I will plant them assuredly in this land with all of my heart and all of my soul. I don't know anywhere else in the Bible where God says he'll do anything with all of his heart and all of his soul. How did the Aliyah Return Center come to be? Well, it was a supernatural act of God. It 100% was. It was a faith journey. God would have me be part of something that would really help the greater good. So after I finished the army, I started working in regular business. I was a carpenter, big team of carpenters, and making money, and it was all good. But I remember feeling something was missing, that I needed to be helping those who are in the most need of help, and really reach out with a love of Messiah to them. And it was always within me. When I met my wife on that beach when I was leading worship in my army uniform, and I found out that also her dad had helped to bring Jewish people back to Israel, and I was thinking, wow, I came back, and it would be so nice if there would be someone that would have welcomed me. I'm not going to tell you the horror stories, but it was very hard. Beside me is my illustrious bride, Deanna the Magnificent. Well, we were married in 2011.
Together, we have been pioneering here in the Galilee. Mm-hmm. After we moved from Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan area, we moved up north after we both finished our degrees in government diplomacy and strategy. When I was a little girl, growing up in a family that loved Israel, that really helped foster that heart for Israel. My dad, Dean Bai, he had us dancing, doing puppet shows and everything. In 2006, I volunteered, and I never ever imagined that I would ever end up living in Israel or meeting someone in Israel, but that all happened. I met this guy.
I had my uniform on.
It was very fun. Always a good time with the Mailspins. So I came to Israel all by myself as a student in 2009. I jumped on a plane and began this journey. Had to get an apartment, find roommates, and find a congregation. Thankfully, I did have a lot of friends there already, so they were very helpful in the whole process of, becoming integrated into life in Israel. I needed some finances sometimes, or I needed family, and then all of a sudden I'd be invited to a Shabbat dinner, and it was I just felt that that I was on a journey with the Lord, and He was right there with me through the whole experience, and He's still here with us. We organized a team going all across Canada to speak in churches about God's heart for Israel, and I really wanted to target my generation to bring Israelis. So it was like a team of Canadians and Israelis going across Canada. You're understanding God's character and who He is more when you learn about Israel. And if we're all in that pursuit of knowing God, then this is part of knowing God.
The real hard part begins actually here in the land. It's not riding off into a sunset. People actually thank me for the trampoline jump. They say, "You helped me get out of Ukraine, thank you." I've now bounced from Israel, where I landed, and I'm now living in Australia. I'm living in Canada. I'm living in England. I don't live in Israel. It's too hard. It's too hard to get a job and get settled. So I said, hey, what if we would work together? Dean said, would you like to partner? Now, we don't have any budget. We don't have any, no one knows about Aliyah Return Center. We just drew this on a page and we said, let's call it the Aliyah Return Center, a place where anyone, it doesn't matter what they believe, they could walk in with a hippie shirt. They are welcome to a free stay. And so Dean and I said, is this possible? To welcome people to stay for free, we would have to go get a hotel. So we searched the land, and eventually Dean was up in the north. I came up to the north and I said, how about this place in Tiberias, right near the Sea of Galilee? And so we went to this one gentleman and we said, we want to buy your hotel. We're going to give you post-dated checks. A little word, would the money be there? But literally people are like, God just woke me up and told me to send you this amount of money, just enough. It was always just enough. And people love to read these Hudson Taylor type stories, but when you're living it, it's not actually as fun as it sounds. But it was really a faith journey. And so suddenly immigrants would start coming. Even we'd have, hello, this is the Israeli embassy. Hello, this is the Israeli, we're in South Africa. We are the Ministry of Interior. We are the Ministry of Absorption. Would you like to take some families? They have no place to stay. That's unconditional love in uncompromising faith. When one loves God, like my wife said, we want to love what He loves. I never realized that I would be part of such a big adventure. I never thought that this was the Galilee of the nations, and truly nations would be bringing their flags and coming in and seeing miraculous restoration, being part of the beginnings of the greatest outpour of God's Spirit that has ever been upon the earth. And I never realized that He was a Galilean. So that's one of the reasons why I call myself Chaim the Galilean, because I want to be more like Yeshua the Galilean. And I think that this adventure is only growing as time goes on and we approach the day of His return.